So Ken Gray here, Andrew Kraft here as well. Thanks for being with us on this monumental and historic day here. And just watching the video play back and play back and play back is just stunning. You can't even really believe your eyes. Ken, though, I want to stipulate for the viewers, we don't know if this suspected shooter who's now deceased was ever in the secure perimeter in the rally itself. We only know that he was neutralized outside of the secure perimeter, outside of the venue itself. So you're talking about the Secret Service response. And so I just want to make that stipulation as well here. You know, I'm also curious, we know in this statement that the incident is currently under investigation and the Secret Service has notified the FBI here. And we're also learning about possible descriptions of the type of weapon that was used here. Jake Gibson for Fox at the Department of Justice is saying it's an AR style weapon here. I guess, you know, my question for you is, did this go overlooked? I know it's early to ask that question here, but is that going to be part of this, the after action response here as well? And we do know, Ken, that they were taken out by that counter-strike unit within the Secret Service. That was confirmed as well. So a lot of moving parts here as well, but for the Secret Service's role in taking out this shooter, don't they secure the outer perimeter as well? How far is that radius? I mean, this is in Butler, Pennsylvania. It's a rural part of Pennsylvania here. Where does the Secret Service's radii stop, where they stop searching for things, so to speak?
Yeah, in this particular case, not far enough, because the shooter was able to get into a position and fire around. Somebody that was there at the scene has posted on X that they saw somebody crawling across the top of a rooftop and was notifying the Secret Service when the shooting occurred. And so apparently this person was outside the secure area. And whether they had been in the event or not, I don't know, but they were outside the secure area. This is something that will have to come up during the after-action review as to exactly how it was with that the shooter was able to get into a position and not seen by counter-snipers. This is a difficult position for Secret Service at all times, because they have to do the proactive work beforehand, but then they're standing by waiting to react to a potential threat. And you saw how quickly they got up onto the stage and how they put their bodies in protecting the president to get him out of the area here and into that suburban and out of the area. But nonetheless, it'll take an investigation into exactly how this transpired, that a shooter was able to get to a position and carry out this shot without being detected before the shot occurred.
Bouncing off of what you and I were discussing earlier.
I mean, we'll come back out real quick before we go back to Milwaukee.
I think he will. I'm not sure when he'll come out. We're sitting here at 9 o'clock hour here East Coast time. Hopefully he comes out here in the next hour. I think that would be the prudent thing to do, is try to get this done before we get too late into quote unquote prime time on the West Coast. But at the same time, it sounds like President Trump's resuming a campaign schedule. We're seeing reports on Twitter that he's going to be attending the UFC fight tonight. And so we'll see if Donald Trump makes another public appearance and who's standing by his side.
Another large crowd at UFC events. I've seen plenty of those for sure. We're going to turn our attention back to White House correspondent John Decker. He is standing by in Milwaukee, the site of the RNC. John, hearing anything new, seeing anything different there on the ground?
No, nothing different here on the ground. Obviously, a lot of concern just a few hours ago when news broke of this possible assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Now that the statement has been put out by the campaign, now that a statement has been put out by the former president on his social media site, Truth Social, that he's fine, I think people feel a lot better. They're more calm than what was the place here in Milwaukee just a few hours ago.
Wow, good insight. And I know we've heard a lot of commentary from a lot of people from a lot of different aspects within political campaigns, obviously people who have covered them well. Don Jr., we had a large conversation about the tone of messaging. We've seen the Biden administration say they're starting to pull down campaign ads, at least in the immediate aftermath. But Don Jr. released a statement too, obviously saying his father's okay, but also saying that, mentioning the radical left. I know that's a big hot word or hot phrase they're using. Surprised that at least rhetoric within Donald Trump's own family, it seems to be status quo as usual, or not?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. We don't know, as your former guest just said, Ryan, the motivations behind this particular individual that tried to potentially assassinate the former president. We don't know his political leanings, so we can jump to conclusions. I think that's a big mistake. We don't know. We'll learn in the days ahead much about this particular individual. What we do know, however, Ryan, is what the Secret Service has told us. They put out a statement within the past 15 minutes indicating everything that they know up to this point. We know that the shooter was outside the rally area. According to the Secret Service, was in an elevated area when this individual took those shots. We know, of course, that there was a fatality in terms of one of the rally goers. 2 individuals, according to the statement by the Secret Service, were seriously wounded. So that's helpful information. And in addition to that, we know what the campaign itself, Ryan, has put out, that the president is fine, that the president can go about doing the duties that he wished to go about this week as he prepares for coming here to Milwaukee to take part in this coronation, so to speak, of Donald Trump to be the Republican presidential nominee. That will actually take place in terms of the president's speech accepting the Republican nomination Thursday night. So just a few nights from now is when we'll see Donald Trump make his speech accepting the nomination. And would I be surprised if he makes reference to what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania earlier today? No, I wouldn't be. I think that's something that the former president could talk about and should talk about, talking about how political violence has no place in our society and certainly no place in this election cycle.
And John, thank you so much for your reporting. I know we've talked about the perimeter. We talked to someone just before you who is with the BBC. He was at the campaign rally and described it exactly how you had someone that got up on a roof of some sort outside the perimeter and taken those shots. I know I was talking to you earlier today about that perimeter and how it might expand. And you said most definitely it would. What other, if anything else that we haven't discussed, what protocol changes for security outside of these events? How much wider, how much tighter, especially with so many protests being planned?
Yeah, that's right. So the Secret Service, Ryan, is going to be even more vigilant than they would be with former President Trump coming to Milwaukee, supposed to arrive as early as tomorrow. Monday may be also a possibility. Of course, we still don't know who Donald Trump's running mate is going to be. That's going to be announced, certainly, I would imagine, within the next 48 hours or so. But as it relates to what's happening here on the ground, that security perimeter may be widened out by the Secret Service, by law enforcement. And we spoke earlier, Ryan, about the layers of security that one must go through, must pass through if you're attending a rally, just as a regular rally goer, supporting your candidate. That those levels may increase going forward this election cycle, not only for former President Donald Trump, but also for President Biden as well.
John, thank you so much for all the insight. I know you'll continue to collect perspectives and obviously do some great reporting as you've done all day today. Obviously, I'm more for us later, for sure tomorrow, but thank you so much. We appreciate your insight. And right now, we are going to go to President Joe Biden. We're going to play his full remarks as we continue to just get more reaction. This is from earlier today. Obviously, we haven't heard him a second time. We've learned some new information since then, but here's President Joe Biden giving his statements.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for coming, folks. I've been thoroughly briefed by all the agencies of the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. I He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to him shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And so, I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have engaged in making sure that people who, and we have more detail to come relative to the other people may be injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to, if it's not convenient for you all. The bottom line is, the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. Everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if maybe we'll speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. So far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that they're thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, and I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give you an updated briefing if anything happened. They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get you back to you if I do. Okay?
Mr. President, do you think this was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough to. I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments. Thank you.
Are you worried, President?
Once again, to reiterate, answer that question for that reporter right there, it is being investigated as an assassination attempt. And that's something that we're still waiting to hear back from President Joe Biden. That was earlier today. We've gotten some new information since then. Obviously, a lot of new information. That investigation is certainly moving along. Rob's still here in the studio with me, working the phones, gathering details, at least giving us some more insight on exactly what could be going through the minds of some of these